Let's talk about some others of the lockdown restrictions being eased, because obviously pubs, bars and restaurants, they're pulling up the shutters, and that is being welcomed by many. But there's also concern over social distancing, because it may lead to some bars and restaurants serving customers outside, and members of the blind community aren't happy about this, saying it could add to the problems that they face on a daily basis. Let's first speak to Tony Barclay, who's registered blind and works on the RNIB committee to spread awareness of the blind community. Tony, good to talk to you this morning. Presumably, this is the problem with street furniture, and presumably a lot more of it if people have to serve outside.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, visually impaired people always have a problem with street furniture. It's not something sighted people are going to think about, because you don't need to. But when you can't see where you're going and what's coming, street furniture is a real problem. It's solid, it's not going to move, and it's constantly changing. So with the restrictions coming off, they've got to be welcomed. It's some normality to society, but I've been shielded during lockdown, so I didn't go out for weeks. Just recently come out of it, last week or so, and as my wife kept saying to me when she went out, she said the world has changed. I cannot agree with that more.
What has changed for you? What really surprised you when you were out?
It's nothing like what it was back in March. Everywhere you go, there's social distancing markers and controls and things, but if you can't see those, they're non-existent. I find it very difficult to go out on my own now of social distancing. I can't do it because I can't see other people. I can't see the markers. I can't even see when there's queues of people to go into places. So I need sighted assistance with me now, whatever I do. Even though I have a guide dog, he's not to do it. It's a whole new world.
Oh, Tony, I think we've got a problem with your line. We'll try to phone you back. We'll get Dermot Devlin on the line. He's a disabled campaigner and wheelchair bound. He also has a respiratory condition and joins us on the line. Presumably, if you do have a respiratory condition, you also are going to be shielded during all of this.
Good morning. Yeah, because of my respiratory system, the COVID would be very likely to attack that more than a lot of conditions. So I would be still shielding at the moment, and I would be for a good while in the future, just to make until everything's a bit more safer.
You've heard the executive talk about this idea of just they want to try and get businesses back up and running. They want to try and make this work for pubs and restaurants. But if some of the pavement was disappearing, would that worry you?
Well, as I say, look, I can understand, wanting to get an economy going again and local businesses up and running. But as somebody who's disabled myself and would be in a higher risk category, we would be concerned with the social distancing practices be kept in place. Because up until now, people have been doing quite well and they're just sticking to the rules. But now when they see that the different phases coming in, that restrictions are being eased, that maybe people might think that COVID has gone away or disappeared, and then just might become a wee bit more relaxed or complacent with social distancing, and then that could pose a greater problem for people like myself. Obviously not be, I guess.
I was going to say, Tony was making the point there, which a lot of people may not have thought about, that he's expected to social distance, but with registered blind, it's not like he sees the markings in the supermarket queues. It's not like he can work out exactly where he should be standing. Presumably for you, there are occasions where you need somebody's help. You do need somebody maybe to pass something down from a shelf or something. Is that possible given the social distance guidelines that exist at the moment?
Well, at the moment, I can't see what I'm doing now is because I'm shielding that my brother and his family would do the shopping for me and leave it at the house. But as for myself going out, with all the best will of intention, retailers and shops, that I just personally couldn't take that risk because of the high risk category. Because whether the retailers might be doing okay, keeping aware of the practices that they need to be keeping, what I've seen them doing quite well. That I just don't know whether these people coming into the shop might have drop or lack of intention. Because you've seen it yourself with PPE gloves and masks being just left by the roadside and in hedges. that whether people wouldn't touch something and then move on to the next one, because maybe I would then come along and somebody would take it down for me, and that could pass on the virus to myself or family members.
Yeah, and Tony, you were mentioning there just about, the difficulties that you have in the street. I was mentioning there to Dermot that there is a real desire to try and get business going again. If pubs and restaurants are to survive, they might well have to take up some pavement space. Do you think the executive here should allow that, or should they be thinking more about the people who do have disability issues?
Well, I'm sure Dermot will agree. Those of us with a disability or life-changing ability, if others might say, are sort of in the minority. So we have to work together. We're a community. But if businesses and others just have a little moment's thought and think, don't spread out too far, put visible or tangible barriers around things so that we're all safe, then it'll work. We have to get the economy going back again. Socially, it's going to make a big difference. But let's just all work together and work as one.
Tony Barclay and Dermot Devlin, thank you both very much indeed.
It's just coming up to 7:30.